Both pilots?
Can you fly this plane and land it?
Surely you can't be serious.
I am serious. And don't call me Shirley.
Welcome back to Thinking Critical. This is Wes, and today I'm going to review my favorite comic series, X-O Manowar. Issue 23 is advertised as a new jumping on point from Valiant Comics, as it's the start of a new story arc. X-O has been in a bit of a lull as of late, especially the Sabbath story arc. That was the first story I read in the series where I actually got bored and became uninterested. That was followed by the recent Adam 13 story, which was a step up, but still beneath the standard Matt Kindt set for his run in the series. Tomás Giorello takes over art on the series on this issue, and he really elevated the book immediately. In my opinion, X-O Manowar 23 is a return to form for Matt Kindt, and an excellent comic book. I highly recommend it. I already mentioned the artwork from Tomás Giorello is fantastic, and I'll give it a perfect 5 out of 5 score. I'm normally a bigger fan of heavier line work, but Giorello's subtle style suits the series perfectly, and the color work by Diego Rodriguez elevates Giorello's work. These spacescape scenes are beautiful to look at and show a true master at work. It would be easy to make these images static, but the artist does a great job giving life to the images and keeping the characters moving at all times. In this page, I appreciate how the artist gives the reader a great perspective of the size of the robot emerging from the ocean. Giorello is also a master of drawing faces and displaying great emotion. This adds enormous value to the writer and allows Kindt to let the character expressions speak for themselves for the most part, and this is true throughout the entire issue. Finally, let's talk about this absolutely gorgeous page right here. Aric is depicted flying with the remains of an ancient Roman shipwreck after he retrieves it from the ocean. This is a beautiful piece and would be a perfect printing for fans of Giorello or the X-O Manowar series. The detail and age applied by the artist is something to behold. If I have a tiny complaint, this isn't a particularly heroic moment or germane to the overall story, so it probably didn't warrant this much real estate in the book, but it is a stunning piece of art nonetheless. Now that I've gushed over Giorello and Rodriguez's artwork, let's talk about Kindt's character work in this issue. This book doesn't have any real revelations about Aric or any of the other major players in the Valiant universe, and really has only 3 characters of note in the story. X-O Manowar or Aric, and the 2 bounty hunters from Gorin, Ron and Hesnid. We'll get to the reason they're headed to Earth when I give my thoughts on the plot and continuity. Overall, I'll give the characterization in this book a 4 out of 5. In this page we meet Ron and Hesnid, and they are quickly revealed to be the antagonists of the story, and have an axe to grind with Aric based on events during the beginning of Kindt's run. Kindt does some great work with Aric in this issue. He's not in his normal home in Nebraska with the rest of the Visigoth people he saved from the Vine in the beginning of the series relaunch. Here he's in Italy helping out, and he's very much isolated. In fact, at one point he refers to his armor as his home. The armor is portrayed as his only real friend in this world, as Aric is isolated and very much a man living in the wrong time. He's thankful to be alive, but you can tell he's not truly happy and only has his armor to confide in. There's only one part of the characterization that didn't really work for me, and it's paid off on this page. Earlier, Aric asked his armor why is it he never pees while he's wearing it, and Shanhara, the Vine name for the armor, explains that he does. And it gets paid off with the reveal that the armor hydrates Aric with his own urine during its use. I guess it's a kind of funny reveal, but didn't really hit right and felt very out of place in the story. Other than that, Kindt overall does his characters well in this issue. I'm going to finish up with my thoughts on the plot and continuity before I put a ball in this review. This is a very easy plot to follow, although I disagree a bit that this is a great jumping on point. Overall, I give this plot a 3.5 out of 5. This is the beginning of a revenge story. Ron and Hesnid are bounty hunters from Gorin, where Aric was conscripted into the army and rose from the rank of soldier to eventual emperor of the planet before returning to Earth. During his ascent to power on Gorin, a group of bounty hunters were hired to kill him, and now the 2 survivors, Ron and Hesnid, hijacked a robot and are going to Earth to finish the job. The first people to realize the robot's presence are the military organization GATE, who are headed up by recently promoted General Kate Capshaw. X-O works directly for General Capshaw, but rather than send him, she sends a team in via helicopter to investigate, with disastrous results. It's not really explained why the bounty hunters are hiding in the ocean, or even how they got there, but I imagine this may be explained in a future issue. Eventually, the bounty hunters ambush Aric as he's sleeping and basically whoop his ass. It's a great action sequence, and I especially like the layouts by Giorello. This ends with no uncertain terms about who the victors are in this encounter, and Aric appears to be gravely injured at the end of the story. This was an excellent issue of my favorite comic series, X-O Manowar. I give this book an overall rating of 4 out of 5 with Giorello's outstanding art outshining Kindt's great writing. Like I said, I don't know that this is the perfect jumping on point, but the plot is simple enough to follow for new readers, and I think they'll enjoy the story. If this is your first time reading X-O and you like it, I would suggest going back to Kindt's first 3 story arcs, Soldier, General, and Emperor, covering issues 1 through 9. In comparison to the rest of the market, Valiant generally has good prices for their trades and nice extras added on, so they're a great option. Of course, these are just my opinions. I'd like to hear what you think of issue 23 of X-O Manowar. Also, I changed up my review style to be a bit more coherent about what I like specifically, rather than just giving an overview of the story. Was this a good change? Which style do you think is more helpful? I'd love to hear your thoughts on that as well. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a like. I would appreciate it very much. It helps us attract more views for the channel. Subscribe for future commentary, comic book news, and reviews. And don't forget to ring the bell for notifications. If you want to talk comics, movies, and much, much more, you can follow me on Twitter at Wes_from_TC. With that, Salamat Po, and I'm out.